All right. Hopefully everybody can hear me on here. I'm just gonna give everybody a few minutes to get on. If you wouldn't mind just saying your name, I'm gonna try to bring up the chat over here so I can see who's on. I don't know. I think this is probably good. So I'm gonna upload something here and then I gotta check. So as you get on, just say where you're from and who you are. I'm gonna upload something right here. Oh man, I don't know if I should. I probably better check that out first. Okay. All right. It's already in my way. What does that mean? I better get on my chat here so I can see what you guys are saying. Whoa. Try to find my live stream here. I really should be better at this. You'd think I would know what in the world I was doing on here by now. It's got to be on my channel, I suppose. There we go. Oh, I want to make sure. I have a loop. I'm sorry. Hold on. How do I mute it? Ah! Sorry. Mute. That's going to screw me up later, I'm sure. But so everybody, just let me know if you can hear me okay. And let me know if I actually got it figured out. So let me know if I got it figured out here. You guys can hear me okay and everything's not looping back. That was terrible. I'm sorry. You would think that I would know what I'm doing, on YouTube, but I don't. A lot of times I just get completely messed up with what I'm doing. So, okay. I don't even know if this is the right place to do this, but I'm going to share with you guys kind of what I've been doing. Because as it says in the title, and this probably isn't the right place for this, but whatever, I don't care. I have been trying to figure out, my purpose is to help people understand what happens in rural America, how people that raise our food, the rural people, the ranchers, how they actually benefit humanity and the country. And I think there's such a big disconnect there between the way that food is actually produced and the perception of it from the city, because city people just think it shows up in the grocery store. So they never really understand. They're always like, oh yeah, the rancher's hard on the environment. They're, get rid of the rancher, whatever, get rid of the farmer, get it from a third world country. Because, and I've realized this, it's not really because they really believe that ranchers are terrible most of the time. They actually don't really understand the facts. So when they hear something from the media, or when they go to school and schools tell you, colleges and everything are all about how we're bad for the environment and everything like that, you end up with a situation where people believe this, but they don't really understand why. So my concept was make information, create videos that are informational, that tell people the real story of the West. Now, here's one of the real issues with that. Number one, there's not a lot of people searching for that. So when you make content about these things, typically who you're reaching is the people who already are on your side, right? They're already the people who raise cattle or understand how to raise cattle and understand all this stuff. So as I'm telling these stories, I'm just finding that it's really difficult to get a lot of views with something in that field, which makes it very hard to make income as well from what I do. So it's like either I figure out how to make income from that, or I change my tactic a little bit. The other thing I'm totally missing, is the younger generation. The younger generation doesn't look up, how is beef ranching done, or what do cowboys really do? No, they have a picture in their mind from the show of Yellowstone and those types of westerns. They have a picture in their mind that that's what it looks like, right? So I'm trying to actually figure out a way to reach those young people, and I've actually created a cattle game. Now, normally when you create a cattle game, or a ranching simulator or whatever, here's the process. At least, and I don't know, because I've never done anything like this before. Zero. Now, I know how to write code. I taught myself years ago how to write code. So I understand the principles behind some of this. But I think the way that most people start a business like this, or a game, is they come up with an idea, they write down those ideas, and then they go out and find people to give a whole bunch of money to this thing. How you do that, I don't know. But then there's a lot of influence then on how that game is made. I don't, and maybe this is a huge mistake on my part. I want to make a game that reaches young people, but teaches them the real way that things happen in the world, right? And so part of this comes from, I was seeing a game that my kids were playing on Facebook one time. This was years ago. It was called Heyday. And it was like a little farming game, and it was kind of cool. I mean, it taught some of the principles of farming, I thought, until I watched my child extract, or whatever you call it, get out uh, make bacon in the game. So how they make bacon in the game is they hold a pig up, they strip the bacon out of the pig, and then they release the skinny pig back into the pen. So what you're teaching kids is that that is completely unreality of what happens. So when they find out the reality, it kind of breaks them, right? Oh my goodness, these cruel people. Why are we killing animals to make bacon when you can just strip it out of them? We think these things are innocent. We're like, okay, we're going to make a game for kids, right? So we make a game that you strip bacon out of it and release a pig because you want to be, I don't know, what you want to be politically correct or something, sensitive, right? But what ends up happening is you give people of all ages you instill in them a reality that's not the case. And I got two kids right now in college, and I'm not all pro college. I think they are going to college because both of them are getting their college paid for by sports. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, if you really want to play sports, or if you have a goal in mind, like you want to become an engineer or something that requires college, then go for it. Otherwise, it's not a requirement in my mind, especially not in today's world. So I'm looking at these things. I know there's a huge group of people out there, young people, who really want to become cowboys. They don't want to become ranchers. I mean, they're watching these shows like Yellowstone. They want to, and they see, the kind of the oppression of our government, right? How hard it is to do things in the farming world, or like, in the city when you're just, I don't even know how you guys live like that. If you do, I'm sorry, I just don't understand it. I've been to I've been to many cities, and I'm like, I don't know how people do it. I I honestly don't. So I know that desire is there, and not all of them can become ranchers. And I don't think you should just run out to ag school if you want to become a rancher and spend yourself into debt learning what they'll teach you in ag school. I think there's a lot better ways to do it. Now, I'm not saying ag school is wrong. Like, learning how to graze, is, grazing practices and money practice, I think, is very good things to learn. So I want to implement this in the game. So I've created something called Cattle Kings. You can see it right now at cattlekings.io. That's cattlekings.io. So if you want to look at it while you're watching this, it may help a little bit. But I just wanted you guys to understand what I'm doing. I really, the passion that I have, what drives me to make videos about ranching, because I'm not a rancher. I grew up in the ranching world. My wife's family is ranchers. My parents started out as farmers in Conrad, Montana, and then they lost their farm in the 80s when everything went to crap in the markets and everything, and interest rates were so high. They lost their farm in the 80s, and then we got back into agriculture in, I think it was in about 1990. And that was when my dad started a horse leasing company, because it was easier to make money in the tourism industry than it was to make money in the agriculture industry, which is it's sad, because it's really hard to say, man, you can make money from the tourism industry, but not from growing food that everybody eats. That's hard. So, boy, you guys are from all over the place. I'm seeing people from California and Tennessee and Germany, and wow. So somebody said, where exactly am I from? And I'll get from Illinois, right there, West Germany. Awesome. So I live in Montana. So I'm in Montana right now. Hopefully you guys know where that is, and Montana is a very unpopulated state. I mean, there's 1 million people in Montana, and it is the 4th largest state in the United States. It's absolutely massive. So we're growing. There's cities are growing. And when I say cities, our largest city is 100,000 people, but there's a few cities that are growing. The rural populations are dropping. So the people who live in the rural areas in Montana are dropping because it's hard to make a living. And I think we've lost the idea of how to really make a living at farming and ranching, because we're locked into the commodity system. We're really locked into this system where you grow calves, you sell them as weanlings to the commodity market, which means you're at the mercy of all sorry. I was just reading a comment. You're at the mercy of the markets. So I want to show, like somebody just said here, just as an example, somebody said, I need more cowboy videos, Trinity. I can watch and listen to your hey cows all day long. I have a couple actually that are coming up. Two of them I need to edit that I think you'll really enjoy. But what I'm finding is to make money at what I do, you can't follow the comp. Somebody said, oh, no, they're talking to somebody else. Okay. To make money at what I do, I have to get a lot of views. If you're just making money off of views, right? So making cowboy videos is what I really enjoy doing. And I think it reaches those people who want to become a cowboy, right? They have the desire to live the lifestyle that I show them, even though it's not my everyday lifestyle. My everyday lifestyle is more in front of a computer because I have to edit and now manage a game. But when I get to make videos is fantastic. Now, my dad still owns the horse leasing company, which is, um, but he's kind of winding that down. So, and I've ridden for ranchers a lot. I've ridden for ranchers all over. Still do for videos. I'm able to. Ranchers always need free help that knows what they're doing, because they don't have a lot of money to spend on, oh, labor. So it's one of those things where you have to decide, if I'm going to continue to do this, and my passion is to teach people what rural life and cowboys and horses and raising cattle is really like, how difficult it is, the really good side of it, the really bad side of it, the part that's really hard on relationships and marriages, the part that's hard on, the stress of making money and making it happen every year, but also the amazing side, like the incredible sides of it. So if you want to take a look at my game. So my game is about raising cattle. And like I said, most people, I think, start a game like this. They come up with an idea, they write it out. Maybe they don't even write it out. They just find somebody to give a whole bunch of money to this project. And then they hire a graphic designer and a whole bunch of editors and people to create this thing. But I don't think that's the best way to create something that accomplishes my goals. Because what I want to do is make something that's actually interesting and fun to play, but teaches the principles of how things actually work in the real world. So if you want to learn how to raise cattle, I want you to be able to get a small picture of that with the game, but have it also be interesting. And that's a really hard balance to hit. So the best way to do that is, in my opinion anyway, is just to throw it out there. Start with something simple, which I already have, and then hear feedback from anybody who likes to play these types of games. So this is more of a strategy game. So you can go in, you can get free cattle, or you can buy cattle in the game and then start raising them. So when you start raising cattle, you're going to have to breed them. There's rarities. So some of them, there's a small percentage that are rare. There's even a smaller percentage that have come out legendary. And I started with longhorns because, not that in real life that's practical, but if we were really raising like, let's say Black Angus, they would all be black. So visually it would be terrible. Oh, it's so the game, if you want to check it out while I'm talking here, it's cattlekings.io. That's cattlekings.io. I'll put it in the chat too so you guys can see it. Anyway, this is how I'm going to do this. And I don't know if any of you are actually interested in gaming. Most likely not. But I think reaching the younger generation is something that we really need to do. We need to, I mean, I was watching a show the other day. I wasn't actually watching it. My wife was watching it, let's say. I walked in, and it was something about this lady who had, a whole bunch of children. She like got a sperm donor and had 8 kids or something like that. And it was a show about her, and they were in her house, and her kids were discussing with the camera person, right, something about why they're vegetarian. And they're like, well, obviously, raising animals is the worst thing for the world. And they look at their mother for approval. And I'm like, see, this is what we're teaching our kids. For the planet, it's actually much, much better. For the cattle, you actually have to have cattle or buffalo on the land for it to really remain healthy. You think about what you do for your lawn. Your lawn has to be, and I'm getting technical here, but your lawn has to be aerated, it has to be fertilized and watered, right? What about those two things, fertilized and aerated, don't happen unless you have a large grazer. And you might think, well, some of those other ones can, happen, like, with elk or, deer or something, but they don't actually accomplish that. In fact, we've proven now through studies that without those two big grazers, elk and deer leave the area and everything just starts to become stagnant. And then after they leave the area, then birds leave the area. So trying to teach this in a game is really tough. But anyway, what I've gotten so far, and because I'm trying to get the functionality of the game. So if you go into it, don't expect all the visuals to be fantastic. I think the cattle look fine. They look good. But you know, there's not a whole bunch of fancy backgrounds yet and animations and stuff. What I'm building on is like, here's the functionality, right? Here's how you raise cattle. You got to breed them. You have to feed them all the time. Whether you want to or not, you have to feed them. So in the game, you have to continually feed those cattle. And I'm going to add some functionality just in the next couple of days that will kind of, as you go. Right now, you have to feed into each individual cow or bull or steer. But if you reach a certain level, like say if you have 40 cows in the game and you fed them consistently or something, you're going to go to the next level, which is a different role. So you start out at role dude and then role dude as a dude. And then you get to the next role, which is ranch hand. And at ranch hand, then you're going to be able to, you know, feed your cows all the way or by corral. So you can select a corral and feed that whole corral with one click, but you have to earn that, those kind of things. What I have in the game that you earn is tough. So TOUGH, that's what you earn, is tough. Because I think people aren't tough. We're a bunch of pansies, and our society says you can be a pansy and that's what you should be, and I don't believe that. I think you have to be tough, and to be tough is not what people think. People think bravado is toughness, but that's not actually true. Toughness is taking care of animals, taking care of people, opening the door for ladies, not caring what people think, being courteous and hardworking, and all those things is what I call tough. So how's our boy Calabar doing? Well, he is doing fantastic. He needs some more riding here, but and we're gonna get some. You're coming up as far as the videos go. Like I said, there's 2 videos coming out pretty one this week and one next week that are riding videos. So I think you'll enjoy those. Yeah, so back to my point. I'm all over the place because I have no notes here whatsoever. I just jumped on here and was like, hey, I'll just do a live stream. So make sure you go to cattlekings.io, check it out. If you have a young person that you know, send them the link and say, hey, try this out. There's a free version of it. It doesn't, I was trying to figure out how to integrate free with paid because number one, I can't do this for free. Okay, so it has to be paid. There has to be a paid option. But I want people to be able to see what is actually going on, how the game works. So there's a free version, but every 30 days, it's going to reset you. So it's going to take all your cattle and put you back to 3 or whatever cattle you start with. So I don't know how else to integrate that because you can't have somebody start, breed a bunch of cows, and then integrate with somebody who's paid. So I just want people to be able to see what it's like. And if you start with the game, or if you look at the game and you're like, I know somebody young or whatever, I'm going to be starting to give out free, coupons, right, to start for free. So you can either buy a coupon for somebody else to start this for free, and not every kid's going to like this. This is possibly more of an adult game. So you know, people that do strategy games like Klondike or, you know, something like that, you know, farming simulator. They want to do something that simulates this world. And yes, it's really simple right now, but I'm going to try to get feedback from everybody who's using it so that you can, you know, because I really want to know from you what are the next features that need to happen. Does this even work? You know, but I actually need to find that community that's interested in the gaming as well, because I can't just speak to the people who already agree with me. I have to speak to people who I'm going to tick off and make mad. And I think gaming can really help that. I really do. I mean, they're already on games all the time. So, all right, I'm going to go to some questions and see what we have here. And then I'll try to, whatever questions you have, I would appreciate them right here. All right, following from Algeria. That's awesome. That's a long ways. Okay. Yeah, the snow at your place is disheartening. Spring takes a time getting to Nebraska as well. Yeah, and you can see I'm wearing my coat. I am in my office this morning, and it's not that cold, but it is not warming up as fast as I would like to. And when the wind is blowing, my office, which is a storage shed slash office. My office is. I have a light here and my computer set up. You know, right here. So it works great. It's a fantastic office, but when the wind is blowing, this isn't the warmest thing in the world. It kind of sucks the heat right out of it. So I got my coat on this morning because it's a little chilly in here. And when you're sitting here, like typing away, doing stuff on the computer, it's not the most warming thing in the world. So oh, let's see. How's Brazil doing? I don't know if that question is for me, but oh, I wonder how many have milked a cow by hand on this. That's the thing is that there is, I went and did a video and it's on my channel down in California where on a dairy, and we were talking about a lot of subjects, but it was a very in-depth video about dairies and it got very little views. I mean, compared to what I normally get. It just, but in that, I mean, they're milking with machines. Now, I have milked a few goats and like a cow once by hand. That takes a long time. And, people don't do that anymore. But that experience, that understanding of like how a dairy operates, where your milk comes from, those are things that you really want to, people have to understand those because if they don't understand them, what's happening right now is people are actually voting the cowboys and the farmers and the ranchers out of existence, and doing that is, you're voting away your food supply basically, and that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make videos about it. I'm trying to make a game that gives young people or any age person, I guess, a little better understanding of how ranching works. So because I feel if we don't save our ranchers in this country, if we import all of our meat and to get it cheaper, we're going to destroy the West. Not just the West, but all of our land, our what do you call it? Agricultural land. Oh, hang on. So, so you saw somebody said they saw the episode on the dairy and they liked that. It got a little long. I apologize. I mean, I was editing it. Sometimes I edit it. I'm like, this is not. This is way too long. But some people like it long. So yeah. So any other questions you have? South Brazil is not always hot. I'm kind of surprised at that. I always thought Brazil was pretty warm, but no, so I'm hoping to really understand from from you guys what you want to see next on the channel, but I'm going to focus a lot on trying to I got to keep it going. I mean, I'm being vague here, but really where I'm at is I have to focus all my attention on what's going to keep me going here. Right now, I'm not um, able to sustain my living right now from YouTube, and that's what I have. So either I go work somewhere else, which takes all my time away from what I'm doing, or I figure out a way to monetize more than what I'm doing on YouTube, and that's tough. So I need to understand what it is that people want to see, but I also have to spend time on whatever works, right? And that's kind of the conundrum I'm at. I think the game will help with that hopefully, but somebody's asking, oh, what is the pistol you have behind you? That is a 44 Magnum, Ruger 44 Magnum, and it's basically become just a bear gun. Just carry it for bears sometimes. I also have a 40 Smith & Wesson that I carry for bears. Bear protection. Because so the wind is blowing like 40 miles an hour right now. I have I have bear spray usually and a gun, but if the wind is blowing 40 miles an hour, the bear spray is not going to do you any good. And I mean, it just isn't unless they're standing directly downwind of you. So I always figure you got to have that. Do you get very many sponsor offers? No. So, I have a YouTube channel, I have an Instagram, Facebook account. Back in July, my YouTube channel and Facebook page were hacked. Actually, they were somebody in Ukraine or that area hacked into my laptop, and so they got a hold of a whole bunch of stuff. And when they did that, then they took over uh, my Facebook and YouTube channel. Now I was able to get the YouTube channel back in 7 days. The Facebook page I never was able to get back at all, and that was where half of my income came from. Now I started a new page, and I was at 285,000 followers on there when I got hacked. Now I'm at 112,000 on the new page, but for some reason I cannot get monetized by Facebook now. It just isn't. They're just not monetizing me. So and Instagram isn't either. So I look at Instagram, something I'm doing, because I do show branding and, actual real life. Hate to see that. Hate to see real life. But people don't like to see the reality, the harsh reality of how food is raised. It like even just something simple, people don't understand it, so therefore they don't like it. I'm not sure what that is. I hate to say that I'm shadow banned or whatever, because I don't think that that's actually true in most cases. I don't think they're monetizing me because the only thing I can see in the things of monetization are um, community guidelines, which it doesn't say what community guidelines I'm not following. Something to do with community guidelines. So occasionally that's something that's that's legitimate, but most of the time what I see is I get hits on, like, if I show branding or something, I'll get a hit on that kind of stuff. So I'm working on sponsorships, but I have to hit the right companies because not every company would want to sponsor me. I'm too controversial because I actually talk about where our food comes from and some of the problems we have in this country. Okay, let me look and see if there's any questions here. No, Facebook doesn't care if you're hacked. In fact, part of Facebook's policy is if you lose your account on accident, they'll help you get it back. If you were hacked, you're on your own. So that whole page is gone. I mean, they stole it, violated every policy Facebook has, and then got it deleted. So I'm just working on my new page. I just can't get it monetized. So it's doing nothing over there other than education, but I have to get paid or I'm not able to do this stuff. Okay, let's see some GoPro day in the life of get your work done, but let's see the raw stuff you actually do: riding, feeding, show, the stuff that makes this stock thrive. And I'm going to be working on that. That was from gaming. I, I'm going to be working on that this summer from here on out. So I spent the last month and a month and a week or month and 2 weeks now just coding the game. I spent 2 years trying to figure this game out, with having other people try to do it with me. Now, I don't have any money, so it's not like I can pay people a whole bunch of money to do it, but it just wasn't getting done. It just never was getting done. It was like 2 years and had nothing. So I started over from scratch. Using AI to help me, I have been able to get something, you know, I just kind of had to not worry about anything visual really other than the cattle and just get some functionality of a game started. And then hopefully we can add features and challenges and all kinds of stuff to it as we go. And part of my strategy with this is to show the writing and the working and stuff like that in my videos to promote that, because I think that is what people do want to see, even though there's only a small percentage that actually watch that. So you might think, well, 20,000 views is a lot of views, and it is for most people. But when I look at all ranching channels, I mean, you kind of have to look around. Like, what is your user? Oh, what is it called? Opportunity. What's the opportunity, right? And there's about that. There's 20 to 30,000 views on most ranching stuff. So you can do ranching all the time, but you better have some way to back it up that makes money, because you're only going to get that many views, roughly, unless I hit on some, major topic or something. But, you're competing with all other things. Most people are not thinking about ranching. They're, some are thinking about cowboys because they're watching 1923 and Yellowstone and things like that. But there's not a lot of people like, how does ranching work, right? Where does my food come from? And that's where the game comes into play. You got to have something that interests people. So hopefully, I don't know how to connect those two. Maybe in the game, I will promote some of the ranching videos that I do so they can actually see the real life that happens. So somebody said, can you tell folks which is the Facebook page is real and which one is the stolen one? The stolen one is gone, so you can't find it. Facebook deleted the stolen one. Now, there is one, at least one that I know of, that is a fake person. Not a fake person. They're pretending to be me. Right as I got hacked, somebody started a new channel with my profile picture and everything and my name, and they have like 45,000 followers, because at that time when I got hacked, everybody was looking for my real channel, so they started following that one instead of actually my real channel. So that is a fake account. It has my name on it, but it is totally not me at all, and it has my images. They steal my videos and post them on there. The real page that's mine, I have a profile and a page. So if you find my profile, which is Trinity Vandenaker, it's the profile, Trinity Vandenaker, it's verified. And then the page is Life in the West, which I think is why some people get confused, is because it's Life in the West, not Trinity Vandenaker. But anyway, that's the real one. Have you kept up with the wolf issue in Colorado? The wolf issue in Colorado it's all over, actually. The wolf issue is a big one. It's a major issue all across the entire West, and I think it's being used as a tool. Personally, I know this doesn't have anything to do with the title of this live stream, but the wolf issue is being used as another tool to drive humans out of any area. There's a belief that there's an anti-human movement in the United States, and part of that is they don't want us to be able to control everybody. You can't have people growing their own food. You can't have a system where we have farmers and ranchers all across America who provide food, because then you can't control them. We can't control people who provide food for themselves. You got to rely on outside sources to control that. So That wolf issue is a big one because it really. And if you guys want to hear more about that, make sure you go watch my videos on that subject. But I can make a few more if you want to talk about that subject. We'll do it in a different video. Yeah, somebody said YouTube and all social media, they can't handle the truth, and it's hard because I believe that sometimes it is like YouTube or Facebook or Instagram actually censoring what you're doing. I do believe that because the reality is too harsh for people to understand. Part of it is that we live in a society of people who go to college and who watch the media and understand the world in a false way, in a fake way. So when they look at life, they don't ever search for something on YouTube that might be my stuff, right? Because they're wanting to see that fake thing. So it's possible that I need to make more of that, even though that doesn't seem to ever really get a lot of views. But so Devonte said yes, please. Are you talking about the wolf issues or something else? So somebody says, I found your channel with Peter Santinello's. Yeah, Peter Santinello he's pretty awesome. You know, he has a big following and he does a lot of stuff that I think really benefits people too. It gives them awareness of what's happening, what people actually do, real life. And he's a great guy. I talk to him fairly often anymore, and he's been a big help to me. So yes, sir. Live in Colorado, not on the Front Range, but like following along. Okay, helps me know. Yeah, how to vote and stuff. The wolves are a big issue. They really are. They're a bigger issue than they sound like. People have sold this idea of wolves being these cute little cuddly creatures in Disney, and they're not. And they really don't fit into a civilized world very well. You really need they move way too far. I mean, and they do fit in Montana as long as you keep them to a certain extent. They can be here. The problem is if you can't control them, then you won't have any hunting, you won't have any agriculture, you won't have nothing because they just take over everything. So, and if you want to see what game I'm talking about, and I would like any suggestions on this game, literally. I mean, of course, obviously it's not styled incredible. There's no major, wow backgrounds and all that yet, but it's coming. Just the functionality I want to get right first. I think it's more important to have a game that functions right and keeps people's interest. So I'm gonna, and then I will try my best to get some videos out that are exciting and new stuff. And if you want to support me, I don't know exactly what I should do. I tried to do apparel for a little bit here, but the company that I chose is like the slowest person in the world to ever ship anything. So I don't know what to do about that. I'm going to have to change entirely. I'm probably going to have to order it myself, get it done, and ship it out myself, which I was trying to avoid because it's not like I have extra time. Oh, so somebody says Rodeo Reed got hacked and is still gone. It is a big thing. I mean, when you're dealing with technology, it taught me a lot to get hacked. It did. It taught me a ton because now I don't have everything centralized to one email. I all the stuff I have kind of diversified out instead of connected. I just use one email for everything, and if they get your email, they can get anything. So yeah, and Barbara says no laws protecting creators. It it's really hard too for these companies like Google. If they make it too easy for you to recover your account, I can see their side of it, because if you make it really easy, then what happens is that somebody that's not you could now pretend to be you, say their channel is hacked, and get it back, get it from you. So it's kind of one of those things where you have to, I mean, they have to be careful, but they're also so big. I mean, Google is so big. Facebook is so big that somebody, even with my following, is nothing. I mean, we're just nothing to them. So it's not that important to help us, right? And if they, especially if they don't agree with what you're doing, I mean, it's like, I can't, I understand that they're trying to be, I'm sure, even not, some people are not trying to be, let's say, friendly to all sides, right? But some people are. Some people are like, but even then your biases are going to show. It's like, well, should I help this person who I really agree with, or should I help that person who I don't really agree with? Well, you're going to get pushed to the back burner. I mean, what I do is not a popular subject, which is incredible, stupid that what I do is not a popular subject. Where our food comes from is one of the most important things there is. I mean, you got God, family, and then freedom. And freedom comes from not allowing global corporations to control everything we do. And that's important to me. So I think it should be important to everybody. What brand are your wool jackets? Okay, so this is the problem with this wool jacket. I absolutely love it. Okay, that's not the problem. It's this is a Pintler, and it's got this, you know, you zip it up here. This was like 80 bucks or 90 bucks or something. It's fantastic. The problem is I think they quit making them. So I can't find them. It was by Murdoch's. Pintler is a brand that Murdoch's makes, and I can't find it. So everybody was asking me about it, but I don't know what happened to it. So it's I just have one. I'm not sure you can even get one. Now the vest is actually something you can get, but this is it's a Powder River. So Powder River vest, you can find those. No, I do not produce beef and sell and ship online. Now, so what I have is basically a situation where I started out in agriculture for a lot of years. Um, you know, and then I managed my dad's horse leasing company for 20 years. And that's how my dad got back in, our family got back into agriculture, was through tourism, basically. So when I was leasing horses means you lease horses to like guest ranches, outfitters, kids camps, things like that. I was also riding for outfitters, so it was helping them in the backcountry. I was riding for ranchers, helping them move cows, and so I had tons of experience all throughout tourism, hunting, and ranching. But as hard as I worked in all those industries, I just couldn't make much money, which is fine if you're single, but I wasn't. I'm married. I've been married for 28 years now, this last weekend. So it was one of those things where you had to decide to go do something that made money, or, you know, continue on having fun, working your butt off. And it's very stressful. Not that what I'm doing now is not stressful, but it's anyway. So what I did is I went to building houses. That's what I did. I built houses while I was doing the actual work. I had to build houses to make enough money to live, and that made way more money than anything else I'd done. Now I stopped building houses because I tried to do houses and then what I'm doing now, but I can't really do the two together. And it's sad. It's so sad. I mean, I understand development has to happen. I really do. I understand that people need places to live. I just can't hardly stand to see country tore up and houses built on everything. Not because we don't need houses, but because I know why the rancher is selling that land. Is because he can't make enough money on it. It's worth 50 times as much if he sells it to a developer. His kids don't want to stay and work the ranch anymore because they're watching their parents, which are the ranchers, and they're usually stressed, which means they're not nice to their kids. They're always unhappy, and they're, you know, making them work weekends and never taking a vacation and all that kind of stuff. So you have these situations that force this to happen, and to understand it, I just don't like to see it. So I really, what I'd like to see is to figure out, help people understand there are ways to make money in ranching. If you go to, you know, someplace like, if you want to learn ranching, go to ranching for profit, not an actual college. And I'm trying to make, I would like to make this game fun, but actually educational enough that people can use it for that purpose. If a FFA program wants to use it, that kind of thing. It's going to teach people this is the reality. It's not all horses and fun. I mean, that's part of it, but you have to figure out this is how you make a profit. So I'm changing the economy of the game all the time, changing the visuals of the game. I'm adding features constantly right now. Uh, you know, and I know writing code is not very sexy as far as a farmer goes, or a rancher goes, but all right. So let's see. Is there anyone in Idaho you're thinking of interviewing, making a video with? I haven't. I don't know that I've done any in Idaho. The person that I'd really like to get down to is that person does that. They do regenerative grazing, and they have a ton of what are those called? Interns, I believe, that take care of the cattle all year. If you guys can think of their name, that'd be great. But I did have them lined up once, and there's other people. I just have to travel and do that. What I'm finding is that my traveling and the videos that I'm making are losing. So I'm just spending enormous amounts of money doing those travel videos and everything, which are great, but they just weren't they weren't finding the right audience. So I need to really focus on what are what is my target audience, the people that want to learn about ranching. What do they want? What do they want to see? I really want to always be giving to them. Or I got to figure out how to make money doing the travel thing, which I haven't figured out yet. So the other part about ranching is the small part. I believe people can actually make it if they have realistic expectations and they want to start a little farm, and then you sell your own meat. But what I have found is, and this is all stuff I've learned from doing videos, because I learned so much from doing interviews of people, because I've interviewed people who raise beef, who raise hogs, who run their own butcher outfits, who run grocery stores, and every aspect of this, lots of aspects anyway, I have interviewed. And because of that, I'm like, man, if I was going to start a little place, I wouldn't buy a horse. That's what people, first thing you got to do is buy a horse. No, that's the romantic part, which is fantastic. Love doing that part. That part doesn't make you money. The really terrible thing is that the terrible thing in a way is you can make way more money raising hogs or sheep than you can raising cattle. Cattle take too long to raise to get to the point where they need to butcher, and your margin is slimmer and you need way more acres. Whereas you can do much smaller amount of animals, lot smaller amount of acreage, with hogs, which produce like 10 per litter, right? And then you can butcher those and sell the meat, and you're actually making a profit, every year, or maybe even twice a year if they have 2 litters. So it's too bad. I wish it was all cattle and horses. And also, Montana is a terrible place to make a profit at ranching because it's got too much winter. So you have to hold on just a second. I don't know who's interested in this, but I'm going to just talk about it anyway. So one of the things that I want to teach people in the game is the stuff we're talking about right now. Yes, I know people just want the fun part, and I got to make it interesting enough for that too. But the economy of ranching is way different than people think. The first thing that people think when they hear ranching is I want to get a horse and move to Montana. And those are like the two least effective ways to make money. And the money is how you actually stay in ranching. So your number one cost is feed. Your number one cost in ranching is feed. You can adjust all the other stuff and figure out how to not give vaccines and not do this and not do that. And you're working with like this slice of the pie, where the slice of the pie that you could cut out is this big, and it's feed. So I just shared a video with you a couple days ago of me walking out my front door, and here I'm in 3 or 4 inches of snow, and this is April, right? And it could snow in June here. So you have a long period of time from September all the way down. Well, usually you try to get your cattle to stay out grazing, which doesn't cost you as much because you just the land, right? So it's whatever lease you have or the cost of taxes, which is always going up. But anyway, you have them grazing on land, right, until like December. Then you have to take them off and start feeding them because you get the snow is too deep for them to get to the grass. You better start feeding them something, because if they don't have nutrition enough, they'll lose their calf, that kind of thing. So you start feeding them hay all the way, and if you have to feed them hay all the way to May, that is a massive cost that you have. And in Montana, the average acres that you need per cow for all year running, and that's including feeding. That doesn't mean they're grazing all year. That just means you're feeding them hay too. Is 40 acres per cow. That's overall Montana, because there's really dry. Most of Montana is deserty. So it averages out. It's not like this piece of ground and that piece of ground. They're all different. But anyway, you have this issue in Montana where that feed cost is so high. Where if you go to Texas or Alabama or Tennessee, where you have 1 cow per 5 acres or 1 cow per 2 acres in some places, and you don't have to feed hay because you don't have that bad of a winter, you're actually profitable. It's the difference between profitable and not profitable. It's incredible, the difference. So Montana is not the best place to do this. It was when land was extremely cheap, but now if you have to pay a ton for land, your feed cost is going to kill you, and you can't make a profit. So when I'm talking about, like, somebody said, hogs, really? Yeah. Do you want to be a hog farmer? Not really. Not really. I'd like to raise cattle, right? But that's what makes money. So if we could figure out a system in our country where we give more of the dollar back to the rancher, that might change. Right now, all the actual profits go into, and it has since 1980, all the actual profit is going to the packers and the retailer. So, packers and retailers are making money, but they're just making a few bucks per head. A lot more than that, but they don't have to make a lot of profit per head because they're running 5,000 head per day, right, through their slaughter plant. They only own them for 24 hours. Literally, they buy them from the feedlot, butcher them, and deliver them to the retailer in 24 hours to like a week, right? That's about the most that they ever have to. So they already know their input cost and their output cost right there. Boom. A rancher has no idea what he's going to get out of his cattle at the end of it, unless he sells directly to the customer, which means you have to keep the cow all the way around. You can't sell it as a weanling. You got to keep it another 1.5 years and feed it up to butcher it, then sell it to the customer. So that's a totally different ball game. So that's what I'm trying to do in this game, is actually get to where, so right now in the game, you can actually, you breed the cows. It takes them 10 hours to actually complete the breeding process and calving process and everything. And you can castrate your calves in there or not, because bulls aren't worth as much. And then right now you can just sell on the commodity market, which I make up because I make the commodity market. So I'm going to throw hitches in that price. I'm going to throw, oh, a dip in the market, some big company controlled. I want that part to be more real. So it is to kind of help people understand this process of the difficulty people have in this ranching world, that they don't set the price unless you sell at the end, and that takes more effort and more time. So then I'm going to add in, because I've added in feedlots. Now I'm going to add in the process that you can feed them up, and their genetics play a big role and all that. So, okay, hog barns like crazy. Somebody says across the river in Iowa, they are putting up hog barns like crazy. Your state has to have the right regulations to make it happen. So this is, so I need to clarify. Raising hogs is not profitable in any way if you're going to sell commodity. And what you're seeing is commodity. So there used to be, I can't remember how many. Oh, okay. So somebody just got on and said he wants to hear about the game a little bit, but Sarah, let me give you the URL to the game again, so you can check it out while we're talking. Because I'm talking about, not only am I talking about real things, I'm talking about what this game represents. And keep in mind, it has to be interesting enough. People have to remain interested in it to actually play it. But it is built with, it's going to be built with teaching people the reality of the way things work in mind, so that it's actually, it can't be real, because you can't wait 2 years for your cow to in a game. That doesn't work. But anyway, where was I? Oh, I was talking about the hog market. So the hog market, this is the kind of thing people don't understand. We used to have, now I can't remember the numbers exactly. I have them. I just did a video on it. Anyway, we lost like 90% of the hog market, hog farmers in the United States. And the reason is because now they're all controlled by like 4 or 5 corporations, literally. And one of them is Smithfield, which controls 25% of the entire hog market. And they're a China-owned company. So we went from like 600,000 hog farmers, because everybody could raise hogs and actually make money, to now like, it's like 6,000 hog farmers. So what you're seeing, all those hog barns built like crazy, that's one company that is building that. We have centralized the hog market to such an extent that if I wanted to raise hogs and sell them commodity, what I mean by commodity is sell them through the system that ends up in the grocery store, I'm not going to make any money. They have locked that up. The corporations are so big, and they have controlled the market so much that there's no way to break into that. They are the ones that are going to make money, and you're not. And they will screw you out of it every time. So those corporations, they just make sure that the margins are thin, that they control the supply, that all the grocery stores only buy from them, and you can't break into it. So the only way you actually make, when I say you can make more money as a hog farmer, what I mean is if you raise, 25 hogs a year, and you butcher them and sell them directly to customers. That's what I mean. If you sell commodity, if you raise calves commodity, meaning you're raising calves and you're weaning them and selling commodity, which is at the point right now where I'm at in the game, is you can raise calves and sell them commodity. That's it. And you can sell bulls commodity. You can sell calves and cows and bulls and stuff in the sale yard to other players, because sometimes you may not have the genetics you want. But the commodity markets are really tough. So in anything, you can actually, I don't know if you can make more money sometimes, because sometimes the market's way up, sometimes it's down. So but you can know what you can know what you're going to make if you sell directly to the customer, because you decide that price, right? So if you raise a cow, let's say, all the way through the process, feed it up in the feedlot, butcher it and sell it to the end consumer, you know what you're going to sell it for. So you can say, well, to make a profit, I have to sell it for X amount. And then you can, and by the way, in the United States, that's about, like, for ground beef, that's $5 a pound, would be like break even. So if you're seeing ground beef that's less than $5 a pound, that's because it doesn't come from the United States. It doesn't matter what it says on it. The labeling are so stupid. It's they can say USA on the label and still be from outside the country, from some other country, and it's way cheaper. The labor costs are way cheaper. Everything's way cheaper to be done out of the United States, so we can't compete with that. So if you're seeing that price in the supermarket, that's because it's not from the United States, or it's mixed in with other stuff from outside the country. So I'm going to add this to the game, is where you can not just sell them commodity, but you can choose to keep them, feed them up a little bit in your feedlot, and then sell them to other customers. But I haven't decided exactly how that's going to go. So like I said, this thing is completely in development. If you start the game, you will see changes all over the place in the coming weeks, because I'm adding challenges. I want to be able to get, people involved directly with each other and help them understand genetics through challenging them. So you have to choose the ones. I'm working on a challenge right now where you'll challenge people, and then you have to choose 3 cows from your herd and a bull that you think fit the challenge. So the challenge will be a certain type of land with certain type of weather, and you have to look at the genetics of your cows and your bull. You have to read the instructions on, like, what does best in what environment, and you choose the ones you think are best and put them in there, and everybody puts them into this challenge, and then the program breeds them, and the ones that have the genetics that would work better for that wins. So, things like that. Now, Barbara says she's not a gamer, but she loves the channel, and that's true. The thing is gaming, I'm finding, is a completely different breed of cat, but it is what people do in the cities. So if I want to reach people in the cities, then I have to actually do things that people in the cities do or are looking for. And that's not, a lot of times it's not what I do. So they're not interested in what I do. All right. So hats. Somebody said something about hats. Where is that? Oh, did I put the wrong link in there? Yeah, I did. Sorry, that's the wrong link. It's this link. I forgot the S. Forgot the S. Sorry. Click that one, it'll work. And I made some changes this morning that aren't on there yet. I have to test them, make sure that I don't break the whole thing again. I break that thing all the time, because I fix it right away. But when you're adding a whole bunch of features all the time in your development like this, I want to be able to develop it quickly, and this is kind of how I've chosen to do. The game, there is a free version to play, so you can play it for free to discover if it's something you want to be involved in. And if you're involved, if you want to be one of the people who starts out with a game and is involved in the building process, meaning they see it develop as they go, then this is the way you go. You will playing for free there's different features that you get from that, so you have to take a look at it and see what you think, but it's good. Yeah, well, so as I go with this game, there's going to be a lot of things that happen, because I'm going to develop land. And so somebody's mentioned in the comments here, there's a reason I said this, is make a game that educates people on feral horses and how they compete with the Big Mac burgers. So he's saying they compete with beef, and how they compete with beef is horses eat grass just like beef does, but we don't do anything with feral horses. In fact, we spend millions, and I'm not kidding you, it's like 50 million a year we spend on feeding We pay ranches, entire ranches, to feed wild horses, and that's it. That's all they do. Millions and millions of dollars because we don't, and we also pay people now to go out and shoot these horses with birth control. it's we've become a society of wimps who can't stand to see something die. And that's how the world works. It's how our food is made. I know they want you guys to eat bugs and factory made slime meat, but that's not going to be healthy for you. I can guarantee that. That's not the way I want to go, and it's not healthy for our land. They forget that the land had, 60 million buffalo on it. People always complain about cattle, but it's like, you want it to be natural. We can't go back to 50 million buffalo or 60 million buffalo, however many there were, because society's in the way. They don't do well they do fine, but they're really hard on fences. They take a completely different aspect. They're way more dangerous to handle. I actually have a video on that. I may redo that video, but I do have a video of me working buffalo here a couple months ago. It's a different ball game. So I think there's a place for buffalo. I'm not saying we shouldn't have buffalo. There's a place for raising buffalo, but there's also, you have to have either buffalo or cattle on the land. So your public land needs to have cattle on it. If you had buffalo on it, that's fine, but you can't always just have buffalo on everything because of the way it's structured, the way it's fenced, where it is. It just doesn't work. And don't worry about not being tech savvy or not wanting to play the game. I want this game is for people who want to play the game. So who want to play a strategy game. That's what it is. I mean, I'm not a huge gamer. I just understand that there is a massive group of people that don't understand what ranching is that are gamers. So all right, well, thanks, Edward. Somebody's got to run, and I'll probably take off here. I need to get back on to something else. I just wanted to jump on here, explain where I've been, what I've been doing. I didn't even post a video on Saturday because I had to rework the login system because nobody could get logged in on the game, and I started at like 6 Friday morning, or no, Thursday morning. I didn't even get it done until Saturday morning. It would not work, and just code is weird. So anyway, things like that are just getting in my way, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to be educational. I'm trying to give you guys some content that's entertaining. I just have to make something that pays too. So gaming is part of that. Hopefully, otherwise I just make the whole thing free, but I don't know how to make any money at making it free. So anyway, so the way I'm going to develop this game, for those of you that care, is it's just going to start out. It's just going to be something immediately. The functionality is going to be the important thing, not the backgrounds and the animations. And once I get people interested and see what they're interested in and how they're interested, because I'm going to be continually changing it, adding to it, and then we'll change the visuals and we'll put in animations. Once I know, hey, this is the way people actually like it, then you can actually put in some of that stuff. Well, right now, it's like, I don't even know. I might have to change, half of this whole page next week. So why would I make a great, spend 2 weeks on visuals and backgrounds and then not have anybody even like it or want that part? So anyway, so take a look if you can, if you're interested in that. Otherwise, if you know somebody who is interested in strategy games, make sure you send them that link. And yeah, he's right. They do, but here's the thing. So we can, social media, which is what I do, okay, 100% social media right now. Social media is one of the biggest time wasters, or can be, in the world. I find myself, and I don't scroll very often because I don't have time to scroll. But when I find myself scrolling and all of a sudden a half hour is gone and I'm done scrolling, it's like, wow, that time went somewhere and I have nothing to show for it. So we demonize the thing itself, right? And which social media, right? Here's my thought process on that. We can either do that or we can use where people already are. People aren't going to quit going on social media. Yes, I programmed this myself, using a help with AI to help me write the code 50 times faster. So now that I have AI, it can write the code enormously faster than I can write it. So then I just have to tweak everything. But back to my point about social media, we get mad at social media and we say, well, we shouldn't do this because people should get off their butts. That's true, but they're not. And the people I need to reach, I want to reach, they are not going to get off their butt, right? Or they won't unless you show them something to do. They're gaming. They're sitting there educating themselves with social media, which is why I'm on social media. I am on social media because I know that to reach the people I want to reach, I have to go where those people are. Where those people are is social media, gaming, those things. I'm not saying it's they have to change. I'm saying that's where you need to reach them. So we can either say, nope, they need to do such and such. And yes, we're raising a pansy society, I have to say, but this is what it is. We reach people where they are, and we're going to lose all of our ranching and farming and everything if we don't educate. And educate may be a bad word. If we don't help them understand what benefits food and ranchers and farmers actually have on their life in the city, they don't connect the two. So you have to reach them somehow. If I just make educational content for ranchers, I'll never reach them. So it's kind of one of those things. Yeah, Cross Timber Bison. I've contacted him a couple times. I haven't heard back from him, but I also have to travel. And so I have to really, my money is becoming extremely limited and it's going away really quickly. I'm losing money hand over fist to do this. So right now I'm having to look at, if I'm going to do a trip, it's got to be economically feasible. And I'm not sure where that trip is going to be yet. I think there's a lot of trips that should happen. Figuring them out, I don't know. I went back through, I made this last trip, went down to California because I thought that would be a very educational thing. I think it was, but it definitely didn't pay. I mean, it was very limited, and the interest wasn't where I thought it was. I thought lots of people would be interested in that, but I think I jump around a lot way too much. And you can tell from this live stream that I jump around just in conversation. So I don't think that's helpful for people. So I'm going to continue to try to focus on the ranching and farming and ranching aspects. Like, how do you make money at ranching? How do you get started at ranching? How do you, use a horse for ranching? What should you use a horse for ranching? Should you ranch in Montana or should you do it in Oklahoma or Tennessee? Well, I live in Montana, so I love Montana. I don't think you could if I can at all help it, I will never leave Montana. I understand why you go to Montana. Other than the winter, which gets very, very long and tedious, it is one of the most incredible places there is. And the more of the country I see, the more I love where I live. That doesn't mean it's the easiest place to make a living farming and ranching, because it isn't. It's by far one of the hardest. The wind blows enormously, like it is right now. It's blowing 30 miles an hour. It gets cold a lot. You have to feed a lot more. The challenges are greater. It's desert, so you have to have tons more acres than you do in other places of the country. All of those things make for a difficult proposition of making money and ranching. But it is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's remote. Love it to death. I don't know how I could live anywhere else now. I mean, I could. I'm sure I could, but I wouldn't want to if I could help it. Yeah, well, somebody said recommend focusing on the topics you can create in Montana. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to try to focus more on the experience that I have rather than trying to teach directly. Just go out, have experiences, show the experience, and try to bring somebody along. I think that's where I'm going to focus. So I appreciate getting on here. I appreciate you being interested in what I'm doing. And thanks for being a part of what I do. Hopefully, you can. Yeah, somebody said that should organize a co-op, and that is something that is very intriguing to me. And I think it's down the road. I think that's something we'll have to try to put together, some kind of a co-op system of some kind. Yeah, somebody in Bozeman saying it's the wind has been blowing. This has been a really windy spring already. Spring is always windy in Montana. This is just you get the mountains and you change the temperature and it just creates wind. So yeah, F2P. What's F2P? Just free to fee to play or free to play? I would. Later.